Hi, boys and girls. I'm Mrs. Smith, and today I'm going to read to you Mr. Willowby's Christmas Tree. It's a story about Mr. Willowby who has a Christmas tree that's a little too big. And let's see what happens in the story. Mr. Willowby's Christmas Tree by Robert Barry. Mr. Willowby's Christmas Tree. Goes timber. Mr. Willowby's Christmas Tree. Let's see. And this is a special delivery. All right, for Papa. There's the delivery truck. Mr. Willowby's Christmas tree came by special delivery. Full and fresh and glistening green, the biggest tree he had ever seen. He dashed downstairs to open the door. This was the moment he'd waited for. "A magnificent tree! Splendid!" he cried. "Please, sir, won't you carry it right inside? I think it might look best this year, right in the parlor corner here." But once the tree stood in its place, Mr. Willowby made a terrible face. The tree touched the ceiling, then bent like a bow. "Oh, goodness heaven!" he gasped. "Something must go!" Baxter the butler was called on in haste to chop off the top, though it seemed quite a waste. "That's great!" Mr. Willowby cried with glee. "Now we can start to trim my tree." When the trimming was well under way, the top was placed on a silver tray. Baxter said, I know just who'll be delighted with this Christmas tree." So it was presented to Miss Adelaide, Mr. Willowby's upstairs maid. "Won't this tree be a pretty sight when I have trimmed it later tonight? But the top, oh dear, I'm so afraid, will have to be cut," sighed Miss Adelaide. And so, with scissors sharp and long, she snipped off the top while she hummed a song. The top was set out the very next day in back of the house to be thrown away. That little treetop caught the eye of Tim, the gardener, passing by. He certainly was not about to see that little tree thrown out. He hurried home straight away to see what Mrs. Tim would say. Fa la la la, surprise, surprise. His wife could not believe her eyes. "But our house," she said, "is so snug and small, I do not believe we need it at all." And before Tim had a chance to shout, she cut off the top and threw it out. Barnaby Bear was paddling by. It almost hit him in the eye. "Now who would throw a tree away so very close to Christmas Day?" "I'll take it home, that's what I'll do. Look, Mama Bear, I've a present for you." "Isn't it a pretty tree?" yawned Barnaby quite drowsily. But Mama Bear standing off far, but Little Bear standing off far cried out, "that tree won't hold our star." Barnaby said, "let's cut a hunk off the bottom here at the trunk." But Mama Bear just shook her head and sliced the treetop off instead. "Jolly by golly!" Barnaby said with a kick. "Mama, that surely is just the right trick. Let's trim it with bells and honey rings, some berries, tinsels, and popcorns on string." Mama said, "Trim it just as you like. I've got to tidy up for the night. This top we won't need any more. I'll put it just outside the door." Later on that frosty night, Frisky Fox came into sight. He spied the treetop, rubbed his chin, opened his snack, and stuffed the top in. It says, "Be Bear." He scampered home and jumped his gate. His Christmas present couldn't wait. "It's even better than mincemeat pie," said Mrs. Fox with a happy sigh. Then the foxes saw that their Christmas prize was just a wee bit oversized. "There, my dear, don't you worry. I'll fix this top now in a hurry." Snip. Uh-oh, look. She must have thrown it out. Benjamin Rabbit found it then just outside the fox's den. "It seems," he thought, "most certainly Santa left that for my family." "Look," he cried, "see the tree I found." With that he called his family round. Then there was merry-making, rolly-licking, frolicking, carrot-shaking celebration around the tree. All were as happy as rabbit can be. Benjamin Rabbit, with his own hand, sliced a carrot and made a stand. "Now let's see how this will look in our little chimney nook." But right away the children cried, "Look, it's leaning off to one side." "It's too tall, that's all," said Mrs. Rabbit, and as though it were a summer carrot, she gave it a chop and threw it away, the top. Then Mistletoe Mouse just happened to see that tiny tip of a Christmas tree. He pulled it through the snow and ice. Up some stairs he fell down twice. At last he reached his cozy house. "It's just the right size," said Mrs. Mouse. Then at the top, if you please, they put a star made out of cheese. Oh, wasn't it grand to have a tree exactly like Mr. Willowby's? There we go. And you could see down there that there are the mice right there with a little teeny tiny Christmas tree. Oh, all right. And that's the end of the book, Mr. Willowby's Christmas Tree by Robert Barry. So boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed the book. I always enjoy this book. I love how it's such a simple story about the top of the Christmas tree, and that top of the Christmas tree traveled from one person, Mr. Willowby, to the next person, and the next person, and the next animal, and the next animal, and the next animal, until it reached the mouse, which was right next to the actual big Christmas tree. So this Christmas tree got to spread joy to many, many families and lives around it. So I thought that was such a great story. And I really enjoyed reading it. And thank you for listening to me and hearing one of my favorite Christmas stories. All right, boys and girls, I want to just make sure to say I hope you and your family have a very happy holiday. Bye-bye now.